We had a person in the parish that had moved from Delaware back to New Jersey, and she had been a kitchen manager at a similar place where they make dog bones and employ people with special needs. So when she brought it to me, I thought it was a great idea, and so did the priest. And so we began last April with an advisory board and people that were interested in helping us. And that's how we got started. And today is actually the first time we're selling our dog bones. We're launching our program today. I already got a notice about next year, and we'll be here again next year with our bakers. We employ them to bake and package the dog bones, and we also teach them how to use a mixer, how to use a sheeter, and how to measure. They're also measuring all the ingredients every day so that they're learning a lot of new skills. It is our first time at Paws in the Park, and my thoughts about this program is it's wonderful, and we've done very well selling our dog bones. And today we have peanut butter and sweet potato flavor.
We bake, and you have to make it touch perfect shape, and then we pack it up and then put it in.
The world stage is constantly shifting. Wars, celebrations, debates, and generation-altering events are happening every day in every continent. So many that it's difficult, if not impossible, to keep up to date with them all. Europe is undoubtedly one of the largest players in world politics and relations. Decisions made by the European Union influence international trade, policies, and alliances, not just within the continent, but all over the world. In recent times, the most significant event to come out of Europe is undoubtedly the outbreak of war in the East, which has made headlines for the past 2 years. To understand why this means so much to so many people, we need to take a look back to history that defined the 21st century more than 30 years ago. The countries of Russia, Ukraine, Armenia, Georgia, Estonia, and many more were once known under one name, the Soviet Union, or the USSR. All throughout the mid and late 1900s, the Soviets rivaled the West in the race to become the world's superpower. Soviet communists spread their ideology everywhere they could, forming a sphere of influence as far west as Germany, and into vast swaths of Asia. However, in 1991, due to a series of political mishaps and cracks in authority, the USSR shattered, leaving bits of its past in pieces, no longer under communist control. Today, many of these countries have taken a more Western approach, building themselves up and prospering in the 21st century. But still, the lingering effects of Soviet times are still seen in their culture to this day, with communism being a touchy subject in the Baltic states and Central Europe.
Latvia's largest Soviet memorial has been destroyed on the orders of the National Parliament. A concrete obelisk rising nearly 80 meters into the sky formed the centerpiece of the monument.
Historic Russian and Soviet monuments are being removed from public view. This was among the first, a replica tank commemorating Soviet soldiers killed during World War II.
On the other hand, after the split, Russia took a different direction. More hesitant in dabbling in Western ideals, Russia kept more to itself, hoping to revive the spirit it once had. Vladimir Putin, a former agent of the KGB, has held power in Russia in some way or another for more than 20 years. During this time, Russia was involved in several territorial disputes, including the Chechen War, occupation of Georgia, and the annexing of Crimea. In 2005, during a speech, Putin is quoted with saying that the collapse of the USSR was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century, clearly revealing his opinion on separatist movements taking place in the former USSR. Putin's leadership in Russia has been marked by a resurgence of its influence and willingness to assert itself on the global stage, raising concerns in European and world politics. One of the key events that alarmed the international community was the annexation of Crimea in 2014. This move was seen as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and international law. Russia's involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine, particularly Donetsk and Luhansk, escalated tensions.
It was imminent. Vladimir Putin has just addressed the Russian people moments ago, announcing what Putin called the start of a military special operation, in his words, to demilitarize Ukraine.
Ukraine woke to explosions around the capital, Kiev. These pictures from Kharkiv in the east. Enormous blasts also in the city of Dnipro.
Surrounding the borders in the north, the east, and the south.
Russia appeared to be targeting essential infrastructure. Helicopter gunships hovering above a power plant. Russian armored personnel carriers and other military vehicles crossed the border from Belarus into Ukraine as President Putin's forces attempted to take control.
The ongoing conflict has resulted in significant loss of life and displacement of civilians. Beyond Ukraine, Russia has also been accused of interference in the domestic politics of European countries. Allegations of election meddling and disinformation campaigns have strained Russia's relations with the Western nations and raised questions about the integrity of democratic processes in Europe. Another part of its influence in the continent is its control over energy resources. Russia is a major supplier of natural gas to many European countries. Its state-owned company, Gazprom, holds a significant share of the European energy market. This dependence on Russian energy has raised concerns about the vulnerability of European countries to Russia's political pressure. Russia has used its energy resources as a tool for political leverage, cutting off gas supplies to Ukraine and other Eastern European countries in the past.
That Russia has total control over. They could cut supply via this link through Ukraine.
It's an act of economic aggression that could be as consequential as it was inevitable.
Now, I think one of the key aspects to look at is what are policymakers in the European Union going to do on Friday when they discuss ways to curb power prices and fuel prices for consumers in the bloc.
These actions have underscored the need for European nations to diversify their energy sources to reduce dependence on Russia. Developing strained relations between the West has led to a geopolitical competition reminiscent of the Cold War. Its alignment with countries like China and its growing influence in the Middle East have shifted the global balance of power. This has led to concerns about the formation of alliances that may challenge the existing international order. In conclusion, Russia's actions and policies in Europe have made it a significant player in world geopolitics. Its assertiveness, annexation of Crimea, energy control, and influence in neighboring countries have raised concerns about the stability and security of Europe and the broader international system. As we navigate through the complex landscape of world politics, understanding the role of Russia in European and global geopolitics is essential. The challenges and tensions it presents will continue to shape the course of international relations for years to come.
Usher1F is a recessive genetic disease that causes profound hearing loss.
Young people, young children, to first be born without their hearing.
And ultimately leads to retinitis pigmentosa.
Which means that they're going to gradually lose their vision and they have vestibular issues.
You also have balance issue, like you can't ride a bike or ice skating, and also it's affecting your vision, and you start to lose your vision over the year. You start with a tunnel vision, it's getting smaller and smaller over the years.
The mission of Usher1F that has been since day one is always about funding the most critical research that we can find and collaborate with different researchers around the world or in the US to provide the best route for every dollar that's raised to find the cure for blindness.
Fund research
To find a cure.
Have a cure.
for a cure to stop the progression of the blindness.
Either could stop or restore the vision.
And she's showing that all the funds that we have raised directly fund the research, and the research are just to show how far we've come and how much more work we have to do.
It's a rare disease, so getting the pharmaceutical industry to pay attention to it can be an uphill battle.
We are trying to raise $10 million to take our leading genetic therapy from a laboratory to patients that need it in the clinic and put it in the hands of ophthalmologists who can treat individuals with Usher syndrome type 1F and prevent them from losing their vision.
We want to raise the awareness about Usher 1F and how challenged, difficult about the disease. It's very hard to live as being deaf and blind. Therefore, we want people to donate, to be part of it, amazing mission over here, so we could get a cure. If people don't know about this, why would they donate it? Why do they want to be part of it? So that's why we want to bring people attention about it.
Yeah, so the organization has been around for 10 years, but we're celebrating 10 years and raising $10 million, which has allowed the organization to fund cutting-edge research, and we're getting very close to finding a treatment. Now it's all about raising more money and more awareness, ultimately the next $10 million, so that so many of the kids that are affected by this can perhaps one day get their vision back. But what this organization has done, what the families who have kids who are suffering from this cruel disease have done, has been to band together, to raise money, raise awareness, and we're getting really close to a solution.
All of our friends and family and supporters have done so much for us. I was proud to be able to show what we've done with all the money and time and dedication that everyone's put into the Usher 1F Collaborative, and to show how far we've come since Zachary's been diagnosed.
Being that we were able to have all of the board members at one event was great. We've never had that before. We had a special entertainer that actually had gene therapy to actually cure his blindness, and just amazing speakers. We had 2 other speakers that have Usher syndrome 1F, and how important it is to actually find a cure for every kid and adult that has Usher syndrome.
This Usher 1F, people get confused what is blind and legal blind. The difference is blind means completely blind, like you're born blind. This is over the time, you lose your vision, and you start off, you see everything, but as you get older, you start losing it because you're so used to the certain way of a life, and it slowly takes away of your living life. For example, my children, I have 2 children, and I would like to see them to grow. I know what their face looks like now, but I don't know about the future. Am I going to see them?
Without a cure, blindness is inevitable, but we are so hopeful that our leading genetic therapy can make a difference. We are so excited about moving it into the clinic and hopefully preventing vision loss and potentially restoring vision.
He is my heart, the best little boy, and I want you to know that I will stop at nothing until I know that his future is bright and he's not going to lose his vision. Because that boy loves art, he loves being creative, he loves seeing things, he wants to travel. He asked me one about driving a car. I just want him to have the life that everyone wants for their children.
So, obviously, Zachary is an amazing kid. Just like any other kid that's out there that's suffering from Usher syndrome 1F. What most people don't realize is all the struggles that go into as their daily routine. Going to school, reading a paper, writing, being on just outside is difficult in many ways in terms of their balance, their vision, their hearing. So a lot of parents and or kids don't realize how tough it is on kids and or adults. The concept tonight was to actually give more information about Usher syndrome that people don't know about it. It's kind of one of those invisible syndromes where you can look at somebody and not realize that they are losing their vision and that don't realize that they're suffering. and just see them as a normal kid. Zachary is a normal kid, and so is everybody else, but they're dealing with a lot of different issues that are not in people's faces unless you ask them a question. So our hope and goal is obviously that we cure any sort of blindness or stop any progressive vision loss for all adults.
I just want people to know we're all born with 5 center, and the fact that you get 1 cent taken away, no big deal. You learn how to overcome it. But when you have been born with a specific sense, meaning your vision, and to have it be gradually taken away from you, it's heartbreaking and it's hard because it's hard to know how to prepare or expect what the outcome will be. I just want people to understand that be grateful that you have all 5 senses or maybe 4, but to have no way of controlling the fact that you can't control when you might lose one of the senses because it's really up to biology. It's very hard to grasp how you can't control that because it's out of your control. So I want people to understand that while we're all here, we're all strong, we're getting through, we're rolling with the punches. But to be frank, I love seeing things, I love seeing the beauty in the world. And the fact that I already had to deal with learning how to hear and understand people, to take away my ability to hear, it's already taking away another, it's adding a barrier to communication with people. Yeah, my sense of taste, smell, and feel, it's a lot more heightened. A lot of my friends always make fun of me because if I'm, eating something, I'll say something tastes off, and I don't know that it's because something is expired.
Help us find a cure.
Help us find a cure. We need your help today.
Help the Usher 1F Collaborative find a cure or treatment for blindness.
We need to raise $10 million to move our gene therapy out of the laboratory and into the clinic.
You can visit www.usher1f.org and go online and click donate and help us fund the research that is in store at the moment.
And learn about our foundation. If you can donate, please donate. If you can't donate, please share our story, our link, and help us make sure that Zachary's future is bright.
Where are you from? This is a question everyone gets, and it's pretty straightforward. Where do you live? Where were you born? What's your ethnicity? There's a bunch of answers for this icebreaker question. But for me, it's different.
Being from New York, I enjoy the food.
New York is very accessible. There's buses, trains.
No matter which direction you go, you can always find, whether it be West Indian food, the deli, get a hero sandwich. A lot of different cultures come together to make excellent tasting food.
I appreciate the diversity, how nobody is the same there. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has something different about them.
But particularly, I love living in Brooklyn. It's the best borough. It's cultured. New York is New York. It's like a melting pot. It's the best city in the United States, in my opinion.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 2007 and lived there until August of 2019. Being from New York is a very important part of my identity, as the people and the culture raised me and made me who I am today. Most of my family and I lived in Ebbets Field, the baseball field turned apartment complex that Jackie Robinson played on for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Before my great-grandma ran away to Brooklyn, New York, she lived in this soulful Virginia with the rest of my family. Some of them lived in North Carolina as well.
So our family, well, my grandmother and my grandfather, they were born and raised in Virginia. And then my grandmother, when she turned 18, she knew she wanted to come to New York City. So they came up to New York. And then you have family members that came to New York and then went back down to North Carolina. Like they lived there, and then they just started their families from there. But I would say the majority of our family is from Virginia.
My family is African American, which makes up about 13.6% of my country's population, according to the U.S. Census. African Americans are the descendants of African slaves brought over during the transatlantic slave trade. They were robbed of their culture and fed a new one, but also created one of their own from their experiences and what they had. And that's why it's so meaningful to so many people like me.
We always survive, no matter what obstacles is thrown our ways. We continue to push forward.
African American culture, we're very diverse, we're very unique.
We're relentless, we're leaders, we're thought-provoking.
Okay, so my grandmother's mother, I knew her. You know, I would go down to Virginia and we would see her when I was younger. But anybody before her, I didn't know. Now, my grandfather's side, we were a little closer to his side of the family. So I knew his parents and I knew of his parents' parents. I knew of them, but I didn't know them. But it was more talked about about my grandfather's family than my grandmother's family. But I don't know anything about them. Like I couldn't tell you really anything. I did do ancestry, and I did come across people that from earlier generations, but I don't know anything about them.
Attempting to trace my family lineage for this documentary was a challenge since there's not a lot of information on the database I've searched, and a lot of my older family are estranged or passed away. I, however, was able to find an unknown sibling on my dad's side. Still, I was unable to trace anyone further than my great-grandmother, which is a goal me and my mom have tried to reach for the past year. Documenting things like people's ancestry and history has proved to be so important, and that's why we have the textbooks and the memorabilia that we have today. It is so easy for history to become erased and forgotten if not properly cared for. And it hurts entire groups of people like us when others have no real choice but to remain ignorant on who we are and where we come from. African American culture is all around us, and it is ingrained into countless aspects of everyone's lives, especially with the rise of pop culture, yet the people who indulge in these cultures have no idea of everything that is lost.
I think what I appreciate the most about our culture is how colorful it is, how we make everything a little bit, better. I feel like we make things funnier. We make things more colorful. We have a deep love for our culture, and it comes through in everything. The way we dress, the way we do our hair, the jokes we tell. I just think that we just put an extra sauce on everything that we do.
No, I didn't. Ready? One in. Don't forget today, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock your poems are due tonight. So listen, 10 o'clock tonight, your poems are due. Unless, of course, anyone wants to go a day early. Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Bree, come on up. Go ahead.
The poem I wrote is called Empty Fields.
So Bree, tell me what after-school events are going on that you can tell me about. Bree. What are you smiling about?
It's nothing, Mom. I'm just talking to a friend.
All right, whatever you say. Hey, you better go.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Hello?
Bree, where you at?
Oh yeah, I'm just coming around the corner. I see you.
Bree!
Ice!
You wanna go get food?
Yeah, let's do it. Yo, Ice, that's the girl I've been talking to.
Just go up to her.
I don't know.
Just go.
Oh my god, Harper, hey!
Bree!
She is her. As I walk past her view, my flushed face lightens. As it did that cold, brisk night, I laid eyes on her. Over the loud, noisy crowds, only one thought crossed my mind. Oh, where was she? My voice echoed over the surrounding noise. Repeatedly calling her name, everyone else disappeared. Nothing else mattered. There she was in all her beauty, beauty that shone brighter than any star, her eyes locking into mine. I felt feelings I couldn't describe. My smile warmed as I felt the rhythm of my heartbeat. I became surrounded by thoughts of her. Maybe it's the way she parts her hair, or that hair flip she'll always do. Her soft brown eyes glisten in the beaming bright light cast upon her. The contagious laughter echoes as a smile appears upon my face. I cannot help but stare, from the endless ongoing conversations to the comforting silence. I'm home. Oh my god, let's go on that one. That one looks so cool.
Okay, I'll do it if you do it.
Alright, let's go.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Let's just leave.
You want to leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Out and proud, I'll wear my pride proudly. She swept me away, off my feet and touched my heart. Hours felt like minutes, minutes felt like seconds. Our happiness was like butterflies, flying freely, scattered in fields of comfort and calmness. All I knew was I had you, and you had me. Hands through my hair, you'd tell me it's alright, until they'd see us. All eyes in our direction. Feeling your touch leave my side, you'll slip away. To you, I never existed. But as eyes turn away, you'll be mine. Once out and proud, now buried where I used to belong. Hoping one day you'll see, the looks become no bother. The constant judgment is just jealousy. But for now, you'll never know.
Harper, I'm gonna have to call you back. Are you just gonna keep ignoring me after what happened the other day? After everything I did for you? After everything I put myself through for you?
Look, don't you understand? How stupid could you be? Honestly, I never liked you. I used you. Take a hint.
Bree, what's going on?
It feels like I don't even know you anymore.
Bree, talk to me.
You're not you anymore.
You're different now.
You changed. You pushed everyone away.
Bree, talk to me.
Can you not see that you're losing yourself?
You used to be so nice. What happened? Snap out of it! Empty fields, I'll run through them free. An unfulfilled part of my heart, dancing to the thought. A thought that maybe someday you'll come back. Fix the heart that ran these fields with you. You live in the past, embedded as a moment in time. Someday, these fields will flourish with love. Love that grows through roots of a new life. A life of a new soul. A soul who grabs the shattered heart and ties it back together. I'll be lifted with an understanding of new beginnings. Beginnings that you'll never know. You lie in my memories, a tragic ending afar. These fields remain empty, yet someday, these fields will be full. Freed from the judgment and disgust that you consumed my thoughts of. leaving nothing but dancing sunlight cast upon two shadows, shadows whom will dance in the fields freely together.
When people think of Clifton, people think of a very diverse city that has amazing restaurants, historical buildings, and landmarks, and multiple kid-friendly safe parks with a great outgoing community. I'm going to show you the important spots around Clifton, why it's a safe place to live, and the diversity and peacefulness of the city. Here's the famous Clifton Memorial Park that is a safe haven for a lot of people and families. There's a lot of activities to do at the park, like walking around the lake, playing tennis at the tennis courts. You can also watch the occasional softball games that occur here, or you can go have fun in the playground.
Yeah, it's very diverse. All my friends in Clifton come from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, and even people that I'm not really as friendly with, or friends with, I've just noticed everyone's different. Everybody has their own thing, their own religion, their own ethnic background. I've grown up in Clifton, so I've come to know a lot of people in Clifton, and they're like my friends and family. I've always just felt welcome. They've always made me feel whole. It's just a bond, a good bond, I guess.
Dating back to 1921, the Clifton Library was the best place to learn about history, read your favorite books, learn about famous authors, and do various other activities and programs that it has. It is an important place for a lot of people and is a safe place for people looking for a quiet place to read or relax. It's also a good place for people who don't have computers at home and can use the public computers the library offers.
So here at the Clifton Library, we have a variety of programs. We have things that the library runs, such as everybody knows that there's lots of kids programs, story times, all the way from baby and toddler through the middle school years. And then we have a teen librarian that runs teen programs. We have adult programs that really vary, things like book clubs, which you would expect to have at a library, but we also have things like yoga programs, knitting, bridge and mahjong, and then we have things that either the city or the county or sometimes the state might come in from those organizations. So like our Clifton Health Department, the Recreation Department. We work with the Arts Center also, doing both programs and art displays. Right now, we are a center in Passaic County for early voting. So we work with the County Board of Elections to get our community room ready for them to provide this service to the voters anywhere in Passaic County. Think of places like, Patterson, Newark, Elizabeth as being super large, and they are larger than us, but we do have a lot of people here in the city. It's thought of as a suburban place, but it's really kind of classified as urban. We are super diverse. The number of children in the Clifton school system that don't speak English as their first language or their primary language at home is very high. It's more than half. And not only that, but the number of languages that are spoken. It's not just Spanish. It is a whole range of different people that live in town, coming from different countries, different cultures, and I feel like we try to provide for them what they need here, whether it be materials or services.
The Lambert Tower was built in 1896 by Kathalina Lambert, who made a name for himself in the silk industry. It was built to be reminiscent of his childhood in Britain, where there were a lot of castles. The tower is built on the Garrett Mountain, which is a part of Passaic County but also goes into Clifton. The mountain is 568 acres and is one of the 12 landmarks in New Jersey. There's a lot of things to do around the mountain, as it has fun rocky trails if you're feeling adventurous, a big playground that was just newly built, a grilling area for family cookouts, and a beautiful viewing spot. The last spot in Clifton that is important is the City Hall. At the City Hall, you can see upcoming events, information about meetings, possible job opportunities, upcoming events for the city, or you can get help on getting specific permits. The City Hall is crucial for anyone who lives in Clifton because you can get any information or help you need regarding Clifton or New Jersey. Connected to the hall is the Clifton Police Department, responsible for keeping the city safe and making sure the community knows they can rely on them.
Well, I was born and raised in the city of Clifton, and I became interested in police work because my father is a retired police officer from the city of Clifton. He spent 27 and a half years in the Clifton Police Department. Throughout my career, I've been a police officer for 23 years, and throughout my year, I've made it a point, like many officers do, to be a source of assistance and help to the public. And when our Chief Rinaldi, started this division in 2020, he put out a request for officers interested in this, and I felt that what I've accomplished over to 23 years, or at the time 20 years in my career, could be a benefit to this unit and give me a more fast track to the residents instead of going from call to call as patrol officers often have to do. The Community Policing Division is a visible unit that we're out there walking, talking, trying to get out of the police car and make a more approachable presence in our neighborhoods. There's many different religions, populations, and languages that all are in Clifton. The styles, the cultures, the different foods. There's a little bit of everything in the city of Clifton. If you're looking for an area where you want diversity and different avenues of culture and style, then the city of Clifton would be an excellent place to start a family. We are tasked with, as an outreach program for different organizations within the city, and to be an approachable unit that residents, business owners, organizations, whether it be religious or social, could reach out and speak to us about issues that are going on in the city.
Now that you've seen everything around Clifton, you've learned about the variety and diversity that it has. You know the safety of the city, the important landmarks, the historic buildings, and overall know more about Clifton. This is a city that houses a peaceful community that is a gem in Passaic County. It is full of people from all over the world that have traveled here and found a safe, enjoyable place to live. I hope this shines light to you on my hometown, and you can see why you should consider living in Clifton.